a big thank you, Ripon and Jim, for bringing us all together this morning. I so appreciate this organization and your focus on the ideas and principles that have made America strong, and I fundamentally believe that American leadership matters, and what you're doing day in and day out truly make a difference, and I appreciate the chance to be with you this morning. I'm grateful for my team being here so they can answer all the really tough questions, but Grace and Michael and all of you. So yes, I'm very excited to be getting that gavel in the Energy and Commerce Committee, and thank you. You all know that it's just an extraordinary committee with an extraordinary history, and it attracts some of I think the best members on Capitol Hill from both sides of the aisle that really want to legislate, that are here to plow the hard ground necessary to legislate, and also extraordinary staff. And it's quite an alumni network of folks that have worked on the Energy and Commerce Committee and are dedicated to these issues and making sure that America leads. And I see my friend Tom Reed over there standing in the corner. It's good to see Tom. Thank you, Tom. I don't know what he's doing here, but anyway. So on energy and commerce, during this Congress, we certainly have looked for the opportunities to find the common ground, but we've also been laying the groundwork necessary so that we can be ready on day one in 2023. Our agenda promotes free markets, free speech, individual freedoms that this country was founded on. And these are the principles, the ideas that have made America this nation that has done more to lift people out of poverty, raise the standard of living more than any other nation in the history of the world. One of the best places for us to start is where Jim started, with energy, and it's flipping the switch on energy, unleashing American energy production here at home. The United States of America has led in reducing carbon emissions while promoting innovation by utilizing America's abundant, clean, reliable, and affordable energy. It's all very important, and the Republicans on energy and commerce will be leading with energy solutions that build on this legacy by lowering costs and emissions across the country. And that includes solutions to make our infrastructure and electricity grid more resilient, unleash innovation for cleaner natural gas, emissions-free hydropower, and nuclear power, and carbon capture technologies. To ensure American leadership, we also need to secure our supply chains. The COVID-19 pandemic certainly highlighted how dependent and dangerously dependent we had become on other countries, especially China, for critical supplies. We're vulnerable, and we're still feeling the effects of that today. I had one of my staffers, her kids are sick right now. We don't have children's Tylenol, or it's hard to find it right now. We also know things like critical minerals that are so important to economic security and many of the technologies of the future. If we're going to lead on next generation technologies, whether it's EVs or, I might submit, more importantly, setting the world standards on AVs, we need to ensure that America has access to these essential technology minerals. These minerals are critical to everything. This will inevitably require that we lift the regulatory burden and the permitting barriers that are hampering American industries. Whether we're talking about American energy, healthcare, broadband, or securing our supply chains, burdensome regulations are a damper on entrepreneurs and businesses. And they're increasing the cost, the time, the uncertainty for funding and deploying these innovative technologies. So, it's probably the number one barrier to doing anything in the United States of America, whether we're trying to mine, whether we're trying to build, trying to do anything. It's the permitting, and it's taking longer and longer, and it's only increasing costs. So we're going to be ready on day one to lift these burdens, be good stewards of the environment while unleashing America's full economic potential. Speaking of innovation, Republicans will prioritize solutions that lead to more treatments and cures, not fewer, like what we saw included in the IRA, the government price controls for prescription drugs. Our committee will conduct vigorous oversight of the administration as it begins to implement the law. And we can do all of this and mitigate the impact of innovation, the impact on innovation and new drugs. We're going to prioritize price transparency within healthcare, which I believe is a key to restoring that doctor-patient relationship and also giving patients peace of mind. We're going to be working to prepare for the next pandemic, God forbid, and to address the growing mental health and substance abuse disorders plaguing our nation. We're also going to be pushing to make fentanyl-related substances permanently scheduled as a Schedule 1. You know, last year, more than 70,000 individuals in the United States of America overdosed, and many died of illicit fentanyl or fentanyl analog poisoning. It's nearly 200 a day, and we must empower our law enforcement to crack down on the scourge of these dangerous drugs coming across the border, the southern border, and into our communities. You know, I come from Spokane, Washington, that has been known as a big, small town. Great place to live, raise a family. And today, we are one of 11 crisis cities for fentanyl by DEA. And it's just heartbreaking, the stories, and I know that is repeated all across this country. We also need to hold big tech companies accountable to do more to prevent the sale of these illegal drugs on their platforms. I've heard way too many stories, personal stories of parents who have tragically lost their children to fentanyl because of drugs purchased online. And big tech needs to do more to crack down on illegal activity and prevent criminals from exploiting their platforms. They also need to be more transparent about the impact of their platforms on children's mental health. Children may be suffering the most on these platforms, and it's not a fair fight for parents. And that's why Energy and Commerce Republicans are going to lead. We're going to lead to make sure that there's solutions that will empower parents. Right now, it's just not a fair fight. So equipping parents with the tools necessary is going to be a priority for us. All of these policies next year will be informed by robust oversight efforts. We'll also continue our investigation into the origins of COVID-19 pandemic, the public health question of our lifetime. We will probe the Biden administration's prolonged pandemic response that shut down the economy, kept our kids out of school, caused the ongoing mental health crisis, and has led to countless deaths of despair. We will provide oversight over the trillions of dollars of new government spending that's jammed through Congress, and make sure that every dollar is accounted for, and we'll continue to examine the troubling relationship that we see developing between big tech companies and China. American leadership matters. Over the last century, it's been the United States of America that has led the world in technological and medical innovations. It's been the United States of America that has led in increasing the standard of living. It's been the United States of America that has led in reducing carbon emissions. And it's been the United States of America that is a beacon of hope, prosperity, and freedom to the world. Next Congress will be an opportunity to remind and to re-inspire people in this country to believe that America is a force for good, has been a force for good, and will continue to be a force for good. And the Energy and Commerce Committee is at the forefront of this, and I look forward to working with all of you to achieve this. So thank you. Thank you again, Jim, and everyone.